great member of this. We lost a great member that was part of this commission for many years and helped in many ways. So I would like to take a brief moment for Jeff O's before I start. I had spent some time with Jeff prior to the week before and at his house out there that he was working on in Putnam. And I talked to him on Tuesday, and he passed away on Thursday of that week. So I feel a little close to this. And so, all right. Any changes or additions, anybody, to the agenda? Nope. Okay, then we would have the approval of the regular meeting minutes for November 21st, 2019, if we can all remember that far.
This is a long time.
You're old, remember that.
Yeah. So would somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Someone want to second that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, audience of citizens, comments or matters on the agenda. I don't think we really would have this, but then we would move right into suspend the meeting at this point. And just give me a moment. I got a lot of paperwork here in front of me. I'd like to open a public hearing for the address located at 7 Newford Drive, Columbia, Connecticut. And the purpose of the application is for new construction of a single-family residence. And the action requested from the ZBA would be a special permit for section 10.4.2. The applicant, Robert and Mary Sullivan. An agent is Wesley J. Wentworth, PE, Wentworth Civil Engineers from Lebanon. The property owner is Mary B. Sullivan of 10 Maple Valley Road, Bolton, Connecticut. I will ask the zoning enforcement officer that all the abutting landowner notices are in the file.
Yes, they are. I've checked them all, and the sign was posted as required.
And the postings were correct in the newspaper and all that too?
We, the law has changed where you don't have to do the public notice in the newspaper, which is why the application was online. That comports with the new requirements. So we actually went above and beyond in the notice requirements with having both the sign and the mailings to each the individual neighbors.
Okay, the property is not within the boundaries of any other towns from Columbia. It's not in a flood zone. There is another application with this to another commission, to the inland wetlands, for review. There is a letter here from Wentworth Civil Engineers, and rather than me read it and not go over it 60 times, I will ask Mr. Wentworth to go over this part of it when we get to that point. I will ask if there's any correspondence in the file, because I don't see any of that here in any of the packages that were given to me.
We do not have any correspondence, but I don't know who, there's somebody in the meeting named Candace. I don't know who that is. Could that be Keith Peck's wife? Do you know, Flo?
No.
I'm
a citizen just observing the meeting.
Okay, hi.
Okay.
This is Candace speaking.
Okay.
And I am a citizen just observing the meeting.
Well, welcome.
Okay. Thank you. I will ask you if you have comments or questions later in the hearing, okay? So, Mr. Wentworth, you want the ZBA special permit application narrative from Robert and Mary Sullivan, 7 Newford Drive, Columbia, Connecticut. You want to review this?
Sure, I was going to do a short presentation, and that was part of it. First of all, let me just introduce myself. My name's Wes Wentworth. I'm a professional engineer and a soil scientist with Wentworth Civil Engineers in Lebanon. I'm here on behalf of the owner and applicants, Mr. and Mrs. Sullivan, who are also here on the meeting. This is kind of new for all of us. Usually I have a map in front of me. And I can point to things as we go. The main map I would be using tonight, if you want to take some time to take it out now, would be of the site development plans by Wentworth Civil Engineers. It's a 7-sheet set.
Excuse me, Wes.
Yeah,
I can share my screen and put the map up on my screen if you'd like.
that's up to the commission if you'd like to handle it that way. It's pretty straightforward.
Right.
You can do it either way. But
Everybody has copies of those, I would assume.
Yeah, mine doesn't fit in the room though. It's the only problem.
We all have copies, but
Short a copy. Yeah.
we have somebody in attendance from the neighborhood or from the town, and she might not have copies. So if you want to put it up on the screen flow, that might
That'd be
be a good idea.
be sheet 4 of 7. Well, would be the
Okay.
site plan set.
So it's page 20 in the packet that you have up there. That's it.
Right there is perfect. That's fine. So to orient you on this plan, Newford Drive is on the right-hand side or the east side. And on the west side, the property faces and is on the frontage of Columbia Lake. It's located about 500 feet north of the intersection with Lake Road on Newford Drive, again on the west side of Newford Drive. It's a 12,500 square foot lot of record, non-conforming lot with an existing cottage on it currently. And the point of this application is the Sullivans wish to tear down the existing cottage and build a single family residence on the site. So as you said, Mr. Chairman, we're here in under section 10.4.2 special permit, which allows residential structures on non-conforming lots. The existing cottage is served by an on-site septic system and an on-site well. Those are both to be replaced as they don't meet the current code relative to setbacks from each other. So a new well will be drilled on the west side or closest to the lake, between the house and the lake. And a new septic system would be on the front side between Newford Drive and the house. An ideal situation when we can do this along lakes or lots of this type, we like to get the septic system as far away from the lake as we can, and the well meets the required setbacks based on the health code to surrounding septic systems and the lake itself. So, and unfortunately, properties abutting this are in the same pattern, so we're able to copy that all the way down the frontage. So it's a very good situation based on that. The proposal meets all the nutrient allocation requirements as set forth in the LAR overlay zone. We use best management practices or BMPs to treat stormwater. We have 3 main points of doing that. First, we have all the roof drains from the proposed house will be collected and discharge into dry wells underground. That's the 1-inch rain event. Secondly, the whole proposed patio off the rear of the house is going to be pervious pavers. So they allow water to get in between the cracks in the pavers, and there's a layer of stone under that, and that acts as a dry well and a recharge. And then thirdly, the tail end of the driveway, a small portion of the driveway, the turnaround area, drains towards the lake. And we have a crushed stone pad at the end of that pavement so that we can recharge at the small amount of water coming off that area into the ground as well. What this results in is we have more than a 10% decrease in nutrient loading based on existing conditions. So that's a requirement of the zoning regulations, and we more than meet that and have submitted the calculations as such. The lot itself is relatively flat. It's flat to moderately sloped. It consists of sand and gravel soils. So from a design and construction standpoint and long-term standpoint, it's an ideal situation. We're not fighting steep slopes during construction as far as erosion control, where we have lots of water sheeting off towards the lake in steep areas that are hard to stabilize. We don't have that situation here. Secondly, we have very sandy, gravelly soils. It's sand and gravel down to 8 or 9 feet and beyond here. So rainwater, when it hits the site, tends to recharge right into the ground, and there's no silt component to the soil. That's usually the part that's hardest to control relative to erosion and sedimentation control, especially for the lake. So the site is ideal from a construction standpoint, and those same factors apply to long-term stabilization of the site after construction as well. We have a site-specific erosion and sedimentation control plan as part of this set of plans to address short-term impacts during construction. And we also have a maintenance plan for the best management practices I mentioned earlier. We spell out on the plan for the homeowner how to maintain those to ensure they continue to work through time. We have submitted to the Inland Wetlands Commission, and we received approval from them in late April on this project. We've also submitted to the Eastern Highland Health District for review of the site, and we've received approval from them as well. As far as why we're here, this is the special permit narrative, and I'll just read out the relative sections. Per section 10.4.2 of the Columbia zoning regulations, a special permit is being applied for 1, an increase of the maximum lot coverage not to exceed 15%. Our proposed house coverage is 14.83%, just under 15% is proposed, so it meets that requirement. It's 1,854 square feet total. Number 2, we're looking for a reduction of the rear setback to be no less than 30 feet. The existing underlying zone is a 50-foot setback, but on non-conforming lots, we can apply for a special permit and request a 30-foot front or rear yard. The front yard more than meet the underlying zone. We have 76 feet in the front, but in the rear, we're requesting 41 feet to the lake. I would note that on this plan on the screen, you can see the hatched outline of the existing cottage in the area of the rear of the house and the proposed patio and porch. That's the existing cottage now, and that distance is about 23 feet as it exists now to the lake, and we're sliding the proposed house away from the lake approximately 18 feet farther away. And number 3, we're asking for a reduction of the side setbacks for a frontage lot to be no less than 15 feet. On the north side, we're requesting 15.6 feet, and on the south side, 16.6 feet. So those are the 3 things, and combined with the fact that we're relocating the septic system and well, sets off the need for a special permit as spelled out in the zoning regulations. As far as special permit criteria that the commission needs to review, as outlined in 52.4 of your regulations, there's a number of A through H things that you go through. I'd like to just, for the record, go through and just touch on those and how we meet those criteria. Number A is we need to achieve the goals of the plan of conservation and development. specifically to this site. Our development protects the natural resource in the area, which is Columbia Lake itself, as I've mentioned in my earlier presentation, through erosion and sedimentation control design, long-term designs of best management practices, groundwater recharge, and nutrient allocation management. Additionally, we're proposing to update the septic and well to current standards. Obviously, that's a benefit to this lot and surrounding areas as well, and the lake in itself. The number B in 52.4, it says that we have to be consistent with the purpose of these regulations. Purpose of these regulations in the zone is for single-family residents, and that's what we're proposing here. Number C, relation of buildings and uses to surrounding areas. This is a single-family residence, residential neighborhood. We feel the design of the home fits in with the surrounding neighborhoods and on the lot, and meshes well with the community, and certainly would not impair any value or any other uses of the surrounding neighbors. Number D is access to the lot. Newford Drive provides adequate access to the lot as it stands now, and we continue to utilize that. Is the suitable location of use. The lot is of sufficient size and adequate dimension for the use. We meet all the public health and zoning regulations to fit this proposed building and all appurtenances on here. The number F are the improvements appropriate. Again, they harmonize well with the neighborhood, meet the character of the neighborhood, and we provide for conservation of natural features and drainage, as I've mentioned before. Number G is nuisance avoidance. Proposed use or building or structure will not create any nuisance of noise, fumes, odors, etc. Again, it's a single family use. So those are all very low. Potential for those are low. And lastly, number H is the long-term viability. Want to make sure that we have adequate provision for the sustained maintenance of this development, including structures and appurtenances, which again, I've already described our long-term maintenance plan for those. In closing, I'd like to state that it's my professional opinion that this project as submitted will not result in any significant negative impact to public health, welfare, or safety. At this time, I'd be glad to take any comments or questions the commission may have.
I have a couple. You made note on the south side property line about the bulkhead being closer than the 15-foot allowable, and that is, the bulkhead falls within the non-conforming footprint of the existing cottage, but don't we have to consider that because the old cottage is being taken down and we're going by the footprint of the new building, wouldn't we have to consider, and I'm asking this of the zoning enforcement officer too, wouldn't we have to consider that bulkhead as part of the footprint? And it's
I'll take a shot at it first if you like, and Connie can certainly follow up.
Sure.
Zoning law allows you to rebuild within the same footprint up to that maximum amount because it's an existing non-conforming use. So we're just taking advantage of that. So that's regardless of section 10.2.4. And I did discuss this with Connie before, and I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Connie.
No, we did. I concur with Wes. We did have a discussion, and they do have the right to rebuild. They could rebuild and go out as far as they are, as long as they didn't make it more non-conforming. So I believe since it's only the bulkhead going out, my opinion was they were not making it more non-conforming, and they were making it more conforming to our regulations. In fact, with the 10.4.2 requirements, the only reason we need a special permit is because of the relocation of the well and the septic. Without those two components being moved in a new location, we would have just been able to approve this via a zoning and building permit. So I think this plan is definitely improving the site and the runoff and the impact on the water.
Is the proposed house coverage of 1854 what is on that property? Does that 1854 include the outbuilding that's on that property?
It does not. I had a discussion with Wes as well, the shed, but because the shed is not a permanent structure, under our definition of coverage, that's not included. When we consider coverage under the definition in our regulations, it's only permanent structures with permanent foundations or attached to the permanent foundation. And in fact, that came up with the front porch that you can see there. That's not, wasn't included in the coverage. So we had a discussion and the plans were revised, and they won't have steps coming out that are attached to the house. They're actually going to place freestanding granite steps, which are not considered a structure because they're just freestanding. So they've made some accommodations to make sure they do meet the requirement for the coverage. And they did the same in redesigning during the whole application process to make sure they met the height requirements as well, because under our regs, you can't exceed 25 feet when you're within the reduced setbacks. So they did redesign things to meet that as well.
Is that what we see in SK5-4? You can
yes,
see the building height restrictions
yes. If
in
you,
the you just should to show us what they were
that's
in the drawing.
That's a worksheet that shows.
Yep.
And it's SK.5.4. It's an architectural plan that shows all four elevations of the house. And if you look at that, there's a crosshatch area in blue, and that defines the limits of the maximum height allowed based on how it's defined in your zoning regulations. So it's a graphical.
Yep. I understand.
The house meets those from the front, rear, and side yards as far as
Yep.
the height.
Now the existing house is 1,200 square feet. You said
Say that again, Jill. I'm sorry.
the existing house is 1,200 square feet.
I thought
Are
it
you
was
there,
800.
Jill?
I'm not
Hello?
sure of that number.
What's
right
that?
now, Mr. Chairman.
Hi.
Well,
Hi.
the house you're tearing down, I thought you said it was like 1,200 square feet.
I did not say that in my presentation.
No. Okay. I don't know
It
where
is,
I got it, but
Yeah. It
I
could
think
be.
it's 800 square feet, Joe.
It sounds close.
800 square feet. So that's
800
even better.
something.
That's even smaller.
It's listed in the papers.
Just so the board can understand my asking these questions is that you got a 12,500 square foot lot. You're putting they're proposing a building with a footprint of 1,854 plus or minus square feet. And then there's a second story to this. I mean, this house is going to be how many square feet total with the second story on it?
Probably adds another 80% to that, 70, 80% to the first floor dimensions. So I'd say a little over 3,000 square feet.
Wow.
That's a big house that is a huge house on a small piece of property. I want everybody to understand that.
Yeah. Did you say 3,000 square feet?
Let me get that number.
Is that what you said?
I'm estimating. I'm going to ask Mr. Sullivan to come on and tell me what that number is.
Yeah, I think it's closer to 2,500.
2,500. Okay, sounds better. There's an interior balcony upstairs. I do want to point out that in the center of the lot, it's allowed to be a 35-foot high structure. This house is nowhere near that height. The ridge line runs east and west to try to maximize or minimize the impact from the street view. And the maximum height of the house at the highest point is a little over 27 feet. 27.2 feet. So let's say 27 feet 3 inches. It's not a 35-foot high house. The Sullivans did everything they could to reduce the scope of the height to the greatest extent possible. They were very concerned about that to keep it more like a lake house type of a design.
Is there a garage with that?
There is no garage, sir.
So the 2,500 is living area?
Yep, on 2 floors.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
I'd like to address the Sullivans, please. Is this going to be your residence, or is this a spec house?
No, it is for our use. It will not be for our full-time residents. We do not plan to move in there, but it is not a spec house. We do not plan to sell this. This is part of our family. We have three adult children. One of them is married. They all live in this area. And so it is for our family use.
Okay, thank you.
And we'll continue to be for our family use.
Is that a year-round house?
It is a year-round house.
So it has heating?
Yeah, current building code requires any new construction or any new modification to be quote-unquote year-round. Building code doesn't recognize any more seasonal construction. Everything needs to meet the energy design components, heating, etc.
What's the fuel for heating?
Wood.
And right now is propane.
I want to also, this is Joe again, the chairman here. I want to also remind everybody that the reason this is here, it would not have been here with our committee if they weren't moving the well, and that's the reason why they're here. I mean, our special permit does allow this to go without coming to the ZBA 10.4.2. So, you know, what we have to look at because of this is why this is here, and what we do get a shot at looking at this and asking ourselves if this is a big expansion to the small piece of property, and is it going to fit in? Is it going to deter from the neighborhood? There's obviously, I walk by that place a couple times a week as I go for a walk, and I know the property. There's good access to the property. It's down Newford Drive. It's nice and flat down there. They are moving the house away from the lake, from where it was before. But it's a, you know, you're looking at a house that's approximately 2,500 square feet versus a house that was 1,200 square feet. So
800 square feet,
I'm
Joe.
sorry, 800. I'm sorry, 800. I don't know why I have this 1,200 in my brain.
I have a question. How far is the house going to be from the house next to it, walking, you know, just on Newford Lane when it's all completed?
Get you that distance. To the south, the house would be approximately 45 feet to the next residence. So 45 feet to the south. And on the north side, approximately 36 feet between the houses.
Okay, thank you.
Do the Sullivans wish to add anything to this?
I think Wes has done a very good job representing that we are trying to build a house that is respectful of the community, of the lakefront community. We do believe it's an improvement with taking what the septic conditions now and moving that further away from the water and improving that process. And we do think it will be an improvement to the overall landscape within the lake. I guess is about all I would say. We work very hard to try to conform to all the rules of Columbia.
Excuse me. Joseph, Ed DiGiovanni. I have a question. Hello?
Go ahead, Ed.
Go ahead.
There, I noticed when I took a walk by the house next door, there must be 9 Newford Drive. Is that similar in design as to the one that these folks are planning to put in? Is it a similar looking building? That's also a 2-story building, is it not?
Yeah, that's a couple of things. The regulations were different when number 9 was approved and built. That finished floor is going to be on number 9 will be probably 2 or 3 feet higher than this house. And so first of all, just the main floor of that house to the right on number 9
Right,
is higher than what we're proposing by 2 or 3 feet. Secondly, that house took advantage of the height requirements in the center and is a full 32 to 35 feet in height. So this house won't be anywhere near the visual vertical scope. It's going to fit much more into the ground. The first floor of this house will only be 12 inches higher than the existing cottage, and the existing cottage is kind of closer to the lake and a little bit down the slope a little. So we're moving
Right.
it forward, just lifting it slightly
Right.
to really keep it as low as possible. So it won't be anywhere near the vertical scope of number 9 to the right.
now is that, I know I mentioned that this is a year-round home. Is it the plans to occupy the building for the year, or is it going to be, exchanged with adult children and that sort of thing? Or just looking at the amount of, usage, and I know the new septic system and so forth are trying to ameliorate that.
Building code, but from due to the courts and zoning regulations, towns being taken to court within the past 5 to 10 years, seasonal dwellings and seasonal use is not an allowable. You can't refer to that in your zoning regulations anymore. So every home is a year-round use per building code and energy code, but also based on anything new construction is a year-round use based on
Right.
zoning law.
Right.
So I can tell you this is the Sullivans' second home. They live in Bolton, and
Right,
it's
yeah, I know
a nice
there's
vacation
close
home close
proximity.
by, and
Right.
I asked the same question: are you going to live there? And their intent is not to do that, but I don't know if that has a bearing on things or not.
Is the new septic system already in place? Because I do remember last year walking down that road, down by that home. There was some, there was an excavator there. Is that already in place?
No, what that was is the Sullivans have owned this about a little over a year, and they went to the Board of Selectmen and the Wetlands Commission and received approval from both to replace the lake wall. So that's what all that excavation was. The lake wall was deteriorating. They put in a new precast block, broken face lake wall, and replaced the dock. So it's again, that's a benefit that I should have mentioned in my presentation, that disturbance won't be happening, and certainly, because it's been done already. So that certainly speeds up the process and minimizes any potential negative effects during construction.
Yeah.
But
It's
no,
just that I remember I thought the lawn out on the front side of the house was disturbed. So, okay, that's fine. Questions from the board? Anybody?
Not anymore, no.
We have someone, I'm sorry, I don't remember your name. You were here as a citizen. Candace?
Yep.
Would you have anything you want to add or ask?
Yes. Just had a question. I have a question. I no longer see the map in front of me, but I do believe it said there's only 25-foot clearance around the well. And I wondered why that was. I thought it was supposed to be a 75-foot clearance.
It is the 75-foot clearance on the map.
I can answer that, Connie.
Okay.
There's different setbacks for different things. You're not allowed to have a septic system within 75 feet of the on-site well or any abutting wells, and we meet that setback. In addition to that, we have a second 25-foot setback. The 25 feet is relative to the lake and also to any free draining material. If you were to put stone or a utility trench backfilled in sand, anything like that, that's not allowed to be within. So we always show 2 radii around a well, a 25-foot and a 75-foot setback.
I see, thank you.
So the driveway, now there isn't going to be an extension of that driveway going closer to the lake at any time, or vehicles parked further down towards the lake, is there?
That is not the intent at all. It's simply a turnaround and a parking space if a third car is there.
And there
And
is,
what my concern is if they go further up the side yard there on the north side and park cars up there, and then it's going to have the perceived look of a bigger driveway. And I just don't want to have cars parked further down towards the lake in front of where the driveway is shown on that plan. If this was going to pass, that we get the driveway ends up being further pushed down to give them more room for cars parking there.
can I jump in, Joe? This
Sure.
is Connie. They wouldn't be allowed to extend the driveway without coming in for permits from the town, and we certainly wouldn't allow the driveway to be extended and have runoff going into the lake. The driveway that's designed here has infiltration at the end of it, so that anything coming down the driveway towards the lake is infiltrated. So if they were to just go ahead and extend that without coming in for permits, it would be an enforcement action. And frankly, everything they've done here at this property so far, they've been very careful to come through the permitting for wetlands and zoning. And when they did the dock and replace the seawall, John Valenti and I were both out there on numerous occasions inspecting it and working with the people that they had there, and we thought they did an excellent job.
Could we put a condition on, this is Carol Williamson, ZBA, on this permit to have boulders at the end of that driveway so that, say, 4th of July weekend or whatever, when there's a large family gathering, we won't temporarily have the driveway extended?
Well, they might, maybe the Sullivans would be willing to put some landscaping there that would preclude cars going down there. I don't know if that's something, if are they still in the meeting here?
Yeah, they're here. I would say that if there were extra cars, I mean, it happens, especially now that in these times we're in, there are going to be occasions where there's more than 2 or 3 cars here. They do have family. They have more than suitable lawn space out near Newfer Drive, where cars, if you did have overflow, family parking on 1 or 2 days a year, that people could park on the grass out by Newfer Drive. Personally, if it was me and my property, I would like to have the ease of maintenance around the house. Sometimes if you need to get a small maintenance vehicle around, if you have boulders in the way, that can greatly impede things. So I would rather not see something like landscaping or a boulder there. We do have the crushed stone runoff, and there's already a safety relief valve that's a natural parking location for overflow events on the front lawn.
Connie, could you help me understand why, because of the moving the well, that we need to have this hearing and have the special permit go through the ZBA?
When they redid the regulations for non-conforming lots, they put language in there that any house that's rebuilt can be approved solely with a zoning permit if it met the reduced setbacks, unless
Yep.
the well or the septic were moved. And I really think that the thought behind that was they didn't want somebody to move them in such a, to a place where they would preclude the neighbor from improving their property. So, you know, we already kind of ran into that actually when the Mulligans next door on number 9, I believe, rebuilt their house. I think there was some concern that they had moved to their well or septic too close and it was going to make it challenging for this lot. So that was a concern when that home was redeveloped. And so I think that was about the time when we redoing the regs. And that was something that Paula Stahl, as a planner, thought it was important to put in place so that we could just make sure that redevelopment of one lot didn't negatively impact somebody else's rights to redevelop their lot next door.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Because that house is a large house on a small lot also.
Yes,
Yeah.
there was a lot of controversy on that, but if you remember,
Yep.
that went through a special permit application.
Yep,
And it
I remember.
exactly met the requirements. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have any more questions.
I have a question. How many feet is there between the well and the lake? And is there any danger of well water seeping through?
I would say it's approximately 26 feet from the well to the lake. And could you say your question about seeping water? Could you?
Yeah, is that ample footage? Is that perfectly all right to have it 26 feet away?
Yep, that meets the minimum requirements of the state health code. And this is a deep water well, so there'll be casing that bypasses any of the lake water down.
When you say deep water, like how many feet?
Well, I would expect certainly over 100 feet. It may be 300 or 500 feet. I don't know. When you're drilling a well, you go down into bedrock. So it's a separate aquifer from the well. There's no interaction between the two.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, anybody?
Not here.
Motion, can we have a motion to close the hearing?
Make a motion, close the hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we will resume our regular meeting at this point, and we'll get back to this business of the public hearing that we just had for the application of Robert and Mary Sullivan to demolish an existing cottage and rebuild a single-family residence with a new drill well and septic system. Does somebody want to make a motion for this? Are we all scared?
I'll make a motion to approve the application of Robert and Mary Sullivan. I'm just, sorry, I'm looking further at 5 Newford Drive.
7.
Oh, I'm sorry, which
7.
one? Oh, 7.
7.
Sorry.
Thank you, Carol.
Does someone want to second that?
Second.
Second,
I'll have a discussion a little bit. Everyone, this house clearly is in line with what's been done down that road, both on the left and the right and up the street.
right.
Again, it's a non-conforming lot, and it is a big house going on a small lot. Is it going to deter from property values in the area? No. If anything, it'll make them more.
Right.
Is there going to be good access for public safety and everything? Obviously, that's an easy road. It's a wide road. Plus there's land in the front of the house on Newford Drive for them. So I think this is
Access.
the access is good, and we were provided with a sample motion, and we should cover all the boundaries of the zoning regs. And I would like to add to approve the application of Mary and Robert Sullivan for a special permit pursuant to section 10.4.2 of the Columbia zoning to demolish the existing cottage and construct a new single-family home at 7 Newford Drive, Columbia, Connecticut. Assessors map 112B, lot 34 in an LAR zone. The new dwelling will be constructed with reduced setbacks of no less than 15 feet from each side yard and no less than 30 feet from the front and rear property line, with a maximum lot coverage of 15%. The building height within the reduced setback is not to exceed 25 feet. The new location of the well and septic as shown on the site development plan are approved subject to Eastern Highland Health District approvals. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Unanimous. Okay.
Time. We appreciate all your.
Since we don't have to put it in the newspaper, what are the regs now when it comes to posting and waiting for permits and that in order for the people to get going on this?
You know, I have to check, but the time frame is the same, but I do believe we may be posting in the paper the approvals, even though we're not
Okay.
doing the other stuff. So
All right.
time frame would be the same from either when the approval's posted on the website or when we put it in the paper.
Right. There's a 15-day
Correct.
period from when it's posted, and then
Yes.
they've got to go into the town hall and record
The special.
record everything.
Yes.
Right. Okay. We're gonna have another McMansion on the lake.
I guess that's
Yeah.
where we're headed.
Well,
Connie,
Yes.
in the past, we have talked about staking out any additions or new construction, so it visually makes it easier for people to understand what exactly is going on. We had that in the minutes from last November. I'd like to put it in the minutes for this meeting, and I would like to see in big bold letters so people see it, that any construction needs to be staked out on the lot prior to our meeting so that we can visualize it.
Visual, right?
Yes. I
that
think,
would be helpful.
and I think on this particular project, because they're tearing down the cottage, it made it a little more challenging, but I agree with you. That is something we haven't had any meetings for
Right.
7 months, so I think this is the first application we've had since what, November?
Last year.
Yep.
You're right.
Right.
But we
You're
had
right.
talked about that last summer,
did.
and it's in the meeting minutes for November. So I'd like to see it on the paperwork. Any application goes out, they have to stake it out.
Yes. Yeah, and we talked about that too, Carol. I apologize that we were going to add it to the application. I don't think we did, but I will make sure that we do that. And
Okay.
definitely I know for your reviewing things you want it, but when we do the development and it's this close to the property lines, we also get a foundation as built, so
Yep.
that before they actually build the entire structure, we make the surveyor certify that it meets the setbacks as shown on this plan. And then once the entire structure's up, we get an as-built plan showing all the structures on the site.
By that time, it's too late for
Too
us
late.
to say no.
I agree.
You know?
It's too late for your review. I agree. I apologize. I didn't even think to go and ask the Sullivans to stake it out where the
Well,
new.
It's not only the Sullivans, it's any application from this
Should
point
be on
forward.
the application.
Well,
yeah.
I'm not trying to single them out. I'm just saying because they were the last
Right.
one that we had. So
Yeah, our last victims.
yes. I will do that.
Okay.
We'll send you an email.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay.
Okay, there's no unfinished business. Any discussion, anybody? There is no correspondence.
None.
There are no plans for school. There are no plans for anywhere.
I want to thank Mr. Wentworth for doing a nice
Might
job.
I
in his
make a suggestion?
Yeah,
Yeah.
what?
I I realize I signed on only with my first name as well, but I don't know who of you are on the zoning board and who of you are also from the community as myself, except for the Sullivans, because they're identified in both the request and in the paperwork. But when you log on to Zoom only with your phone number, I have no idea who's making comments and addressing this. And as a public meeting, I think you all should be accurately identified, not by what your wife's name, but by your name, and not by your
Absolutely.
phone number, but by your name. And ZEO and zoning enforcement officer, it's not sufficient. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, you need to have a roll call at this point then?
No, we're all new at
I-
this. You'll get it right next
Yeah.
time.
I have one comment. I'm Stanley Rosenstein. I walk by Newford Drive a lot, and I know that new home, which is, I guess, just a neighbor of the Sullivan's property, that new house.
Right.
I think that's a nice looking home from what I can see on the property. So I think this new home may complement that new home.
Yes,
Just a thought.
they're not necessarily McMansions, but they are getting up a little bit larger than you would
Right.
expect.
So you'll have two larger homes
Right.
kind of right together.
Yep. Okay, motion to adjourn?
Motion to
I make a
adjourn.
motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. This was new and exciting.
Thank you, folks.
Thank
Yes,
you.
Joe.
Thank you for everything.
Okay, everybody. Have a good summer.
Okay. Yeah, you too.
You also, stay
That will be
safe.
back again.
Right.
Thank you.
Likewise.
Connie? Yep, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Night all.
Connie, you want to stay on?
Sure.
He didn't end himself.
He didn't end himself, no.
You can hang up. You can hang
Stanley.
up, Stanley.
How do you, okay, just hang the phone up?
Yep, you're all set. You can hang up. And then you can go off of Zoom.
If I press cancel, what happens? Can that do the same thing?
I think so.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I'll try and press,
We'll let
cancel.
you know if you're still there after you hit cancel.
Yeah.
okay.
Nope.
I'm out?
No,
No,
you're still
So
there.
the picture went black.
No, I could see you
It-
still.
I'm gonna take
You can see
out.
me.
I'm gonna take you out.
You're gonna take me out?
Yeah, I'm gonna let you go home.
Okay.
Okay, we'll
So
talk
you want me
later.
to hang the, do you want me to hang the phone up?
Yes, yes,
Okay, I'll hang the phone up right now.
yep. He's gone, I think.
I still see his hand.
Yeah, no, he's gone.
There's no.
It just takes a little while.
Joe's still here? I still see Joe.
Good. Joe's still there?
He's still on my thing.
I'll remove him then.
Huh.
I don't see the phone at all with him anymore.
Do you want me to just call you on my phone?
Well, it won't remove him. He's not there. Joe, are you there? Nope.
Yeah. Oh, now he's gone. Now